Hank, you are chasing a story about a man that claims he was fired for farting on the job. What do you got?
That is his claim, Bill. Go ahead and lay it out.
I was a fat guy. They didn't like it. I was old. People don't want that as being as a spokesperson for their company.
A legal stink is brewing, Bill, pitting Richard Clem and his wife against their former employers, Trenton's own Case Pork Roll. In an exclusive interview, Richard told me that he was let go after a gastric bypass surgery left him with the unintended and certainly unwanted side effect of uncontrollable diarrhea and gas.
If I had known it was going to be to that extent, I wouldn't have had the operation. Nobody wants to be called Stinky Boy or anything else. As long as they do their job and fulfill their obligation as an employee, they shouldn't be discriminated against.
Sure. Now, of course, Bill, we did reach out to Case Pork Roll, even drove by there this morning. They couldn't comment. Very nice on the phone, but neither could their lawyers due to the ongoing litigation. The company's president told MyCentralNewJersey.com, however, that Richard and his wife quit after refusing to take a pay cut and that Richard was never discriminated against.
I took more than a 50% pay cut just to get the job, and because I've worked my way up the ladder, now all of a sudden I'm being penalized.
Now, there's plenty more on the story, Bill. Suffice to say that money is most assuredly a factor. There are two different avenues here. Mrs. Clem's suit on behalf of her husband in federal court filed in Camden, and a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Oh, that wasn't mine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Richard's lawyer, David Kohler, calls his client brave.
The story's about him being brave enough to come forth with what happened to him at work, where he contends that he was discriminated against in violation of the laws.
One of the things we were talking about is the severity of the side effects. And I understand that when you go on to a surgery like this, I mean, you take some risks. But it sounds like this man's maybe addressing his lawsuit to the wrong people, because those type of side effects impacting his life in this way seems like he might have a case against the doctors.
Well, it's not unheard of. About 5% of the cases in this particular operation get
and
that,
this is a
5%.
more dramatic procedure than the lap band surgery that the governor had. I mean, the gastric bypass essentially reroutes your intestine and creates two pockets in your stomach. I mean, it's a huge operation.
Right. He did the gastric bypass surgery to save his life. He needed that surgery, and we know that some of the side effects are having excessive gas and possibly uncontrollable diarrhea. They should really be more understanding.
When I was looking at this, that you interviewing him, right? Like, there's a couple things in the background that were interesting to me. He appears to be drinking a carbonated beverage.
It was unsweetened tea.
It was unsweetened tea. He's got alcohol behind him, popcorn, which contains a lot of salt. Is there a possibility that his diet contributed to what was going on with him?
That could have been for his wife. You don't know that it was for him.
I don't know. Hank brought in pork roll, so I don't know if that was the best.
I brought in pork roll for the fun of it. I will say in Richard's defense that I spent a good 45 minutes to an hour at his house, never smelled anything untoward, and no one ever broke wind that I'm aware of.
I love pork roll, and now I can't buy pork roll now. This is...